In a difficulty ROM hack like Emerald Elite Redux, there are obviously a lot of challenging battles, but there are definitely some that are just much harder than others. Double battles with busted strategies, mixed battles, early game legendaries, and even fights where your Pokemon are outnumbered. In this video, I will be going over what I believe are the hardest battles to get through in the entire game. Now all these battles are on Elite difficulty mode and are based on when you fight them, not just on their team composition. Let's get into the top 10. Double battles can already be really annoying, especially if your team isn't built for them. Well, imagine the difficulty in a double battle where you only get half your team and the other half is controlled by the CPU. Welcome to the mixed maxi battle in the Moss Deep Space Center. In this fight, Admin Courtney and the team leader Maxi team up against you and Steven Stone. You only get to bring 3 Pokemon however, and the other 3 are who Steven controls. And the genius Steven brings all steel types that will die to all the fire moves coming your way. The unfortunate part about mixed battles are if your 3 Pokemon faint first, the battle ends regardless of what Steven Stone has. So what are you going up against? The leads are Courtney's Granbull, which has Intimidate, and Maxi's Primal Groudon, which will spam Sun Boosted V-Create. Granbull has a Focus Sash, but Steven Stone's Magnezone will take it out most likely. Courtney will then send out her Mega Charizard Y, which will get Sun Worship boost to its speed. Charizard Y also has solar power, so Heat Wave, which hits both targets, does crazy damage. She may also send out her Krookodile, which also has Intimidate, and an Assault Vest, making it hard to take out in one shot. Sun boosted, Strong Jaw boosted Fire Fang, as well as Rock Slide to hit both targets. She overall isn't a huge threat, but paired with Maxi and you only being able to choose one move makes her more dangerous. If you manage to take out Groudon, he will send out his Mega Camerupt. Due to its unique artillery ability, its moves will hit both Pokemon. Solar Beam and Searing Shot are going to do plenty of damage. And his last Pokemon is a Power Construct Zygarde. Its Yache Berry will have an Ice-type move, which could bring it down to the sweet spot to activate its ability, making it a 100% form. With moves like Dragon Dance to set up, and spread moves like Thousand Waves and Arrows, it can get out of hand quickly. The main problem with this fight is that you need to end it quickly. Steven's Magnezone, Aggron, and Mega Skarmory will be taken out fast, so it'll leave you in a bad spot. It's not the hardest fight, but it can definitely take a few tries finding the perfect Pokemon for your team. With the limit of AI, sometimes it can be challenging for the CPU to put up difficult fights without some kind of advantage. One of the ways this can be accomplished is by making the sides uneven. Sure, a 6v6 is hard enough, but what about a 6v12? This is the exact situation you're faced with when fighting Archie for the first time. When you're trying to stop Team Aqua in the museum just after the second gym, you're tasked with taking out 2 Grunts and Archie, but you have to verse all 3 of them in a row with no chance to heal in between, making you really think about which Pokemon you want to keep around for the final fight. If your team is weak to water, you'll be having a bad time. The first Grunt leads with a tanky Tentacruel with Mirror Coat and Scald. One bad burn and it can end your team right there. An opportunist, Choice Banded Mightyena will kill any Pokemon it sees with low HP. Delamize with Water Absorb and strong moves like Power Whip and Anchor Shot will tear you down. Lastly, a hyper aggressive low kicks with First Impression, High Jump Kick, and a Focus Sash. This thing is going to hurt you, and its ability Showdown is very scary. This is just one fight. The second fight is tough considering you don't get to choose your lead. His lead Golbat has an Eviolite and is immune to Rock thanks to Mountaineer, and has Sniper to help it get KOs. A Choice Specs Clawitzer can sweep you, and an Alolan Muck with an Assault Vest will surely weaken at least one of your Pokemon. Right before the final fight with Archie. Liepard with Fake Out to start, which could finish off your weak lead, and since it's max speed, will probably hit you again. His Eviolite Sligo isn't too much trouble, but Sleep Talk Rest can be a challenge. Eviolite Electric is in the same boat, but it also has Super Fang, Giga Drain, and Discharge, so it can be quite disruptive. Crobat is going to be faster than anything you have that doesn't have a Choice Scarf, so be prepared for a Stab Brave Bird. Lastly, Archie's Ace Sharpedo will be faster than a lot of your Pokemon, but it having Hyper Aggressive and Jaws of Carnage, healing it with a KO, will finish off any last hopes you have. So not only is it a 6v12 against 12 solid Pokemon, it's very challenging, but with a good game plan is very possible. The original games have a 4-team gauntlet here in this house, where one by one, they will come out and challenge you. They are the Win Straight family and were pretty laughable. No longer is this challenge a breeze. With no chances to heal in between, this is a 6v12. starting with the dad, who leads off with a max speed, choice banded Staraptor with Intimidate. Powerful attacks like Close Combat, Brave Bird, and Double Edge will surely leave a mark if left unchecked. Followed up by a Gumshoes, who also has a choice band and is guaranteed a crit on turn 1. Hyper Fang will be devastating. Last, a max speed Raticate with Flame Orb and Guts. If it gets a boost from Growing Tooth, its facade will be unstoppable. Next is the mother. She only has 2 Pokemon, but depending on your lead can really hurt you. A Quiver Dancing Lilligant to start, and if you can't take it out quickly, will pick you off one by one. Followed by a Prankster, Leech Seed, and Stun Spore having Whimsicott. It might not be able to take a Pokemon out, but just letting it paralyze a Pokemon will set them up for failure for the next 2 fights. Speaking of which, the daughter comes out next and doesn't let up. Starting with a Life Orb Floatzel with Fake Out and Hydrate boosted return. It also has Ice Beam if you plan on using a Grass type. She'll also send out a Salazzle next if you get past it though. With high speed and a Focus Sash and an ability that blocks priority, it can easily be the last Pokemon you see. But if not, you have to deal with a tank, Go-Goat, with Milk Drink and Bulk Up. Horn Leech will not only kill you, it will give it all of its health back. If you manage to get through all of that, Grandma will finish you off. Leading with a Swords Dance using Heracross, Close Combat and Megahorn will surely kill your weakened lead. A Pinsir is also super scary with Anger Point and a Focus Sash. By this point, your team is barely hanging on. A Redux Noivern with max speed will outspeed so many Pokemon, hitting them with hyper aggressive Jagged Fangs and Spectral Thief, as well as Sucker Punch if you somehow outspeed it. Now imagine you've made it through all of that and you see the last Pokemon. A Mega Scizor with Intimidate and max HP. Stab, Technician boosted Bullet Punch, and Extreme Speed will do a ton of damage with little counterplay. Don't let it get a Swords Dance off or it's over. This fight requires a lot of strategy and will take multiple tries for a lot of teams. At least you receive a Pinsir as a prize afterwards. Calvin is the very first trainer who isn't your rival that you face in Emerald Elite Redux, and he really sets the tone for how the game will go. But this isn't the last time you see good old Calvin. Lurking at the end of Victory Road, ready to jump you before you exit, he returns with a vengeance. And his team is the ultimate wall. In fact, it's very easy to get swept by just his first Pokemon. His ace is the cursed Dualion, a Pokemon that is so broken it's not even available to the player. Its signature ability, Prismatic Fur, makes it nearly impossible to hit with any strong moves as it changes its type to resist incoming attacks, on top of Northwind setting up Aurora Veil for it. You can't set up on it as Retribution Blow will hit you with a Hyper Beam, but it can set up on you with Calm Mind. Its combination of Freeze Dry and Scald will hit every single type combination with at least neutral effectiveness. Its special defense is crazy, so a burn will end you. But once you get past Dualion, the battle isn't even over. Mega Shuckle is also an unbreakable wall with the ability to deal damage back with Rollout and Infestation. It has potential recovery with Pain Split. It's incredibly difficult to take out. Calvin still has 2 annoying stall mons in the back, in Umbreon and Chansey. A Bright Powder, Mud Slap, double team spamming Umbreon with Toxic and Protect will watch you slowly perish. An Eviolite Chansey with Priority Healing, Thunder Wave, and Seismic Toss can be tricky to get past. Don't be fooled though, as he has 2 very strong attackers, Hydreigon with Mega Launcher and multi-headed abilities, boosting up moves like Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, and Aura Sphere, which will all hit you 3 times. Lastly, a Dugtrio with Focus Sash, which also has multi-headed and potential flinch shenanigans with Iron Head. Bottom line is, if you had no idea what this monster was going to send out, you were going to lose unless you get extremely lucky. That makes him one of the toughest battles. One of the biggest challenges of the early game is not a gym leader, or a rival, or a boss. No, it's the literal champion of the game, Steven Stone. Now, he isn't the champion yet, but he doesn't hold back. This fight takes place in Granite Cave right before the second gym. The lack of available Pokemon makes this fight even more difficult to manage. Well, what does Steven bring to this fight that makes it so hard? Starting with the lead, Cradily. Such an annoyingly tanky lead, equipped with Stealth Rocks to destroy any fire type you plan on using, as well as Giga Drain and Recover, paired with Battle Armor reducing damage to get the fight off to a rocky start. Alolan Dugtrio is disgusting this early, extremely fast and strong with its multi-headed ability causing flinches and killing sashed Pokemon. But it itself has a sash and it's going to get a piece of the action. Heatmore, now a Fire Steel type, is a really strong early game Pokemon, and this Choice Scarf set is going to outspeed a good majority of your pre-evolved Pokemon, getting hit with Steelworker boosted Stab Iron Tail. That was just half the nightmare of this battle. Delamize with Water Absorb and Metallic has 4 immunities and max HP and is a tank, but it'll also destroy you with Power Whip, Anchor Shot, and Poltergeist. This wasn't enough for Steven as he has a mythical legendary Genesect. Keep in mind, you only have 1 badge at this point. Download Genesect is a menace with U-Turn, Steel Beam, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower. The coverage is insane and it has a Choice Scarf to make sure someone is getting blasted. And of course he has his signature Metagross. Prism Armor makes super effective moves against it weaker, Predator to heal it up with knockouts, and Life Orb boosted moves to maximize damage. Stab Bullet Punch will finish off many of your Pokemon and can even stop your fragile sweepers before they start. This fight serves as the first major roadblock for many players and will force you to get creative to take it out. The second member of the Elite Four, Phoebe, has always been tricky to deal with. It's a whole different ballgame now. She's assembled some of the toughest ghost Pokemon created. Her lead Giratina is a nightmare matchup. Trick Room on entry, an absolutely impenetrable bulk. Toxic and Recover, and Spectral Thief if you think about setting up. It only gets worse. Necrozma Dawnwing's form is super bulky and few Pokemon can handle Prismatic Laser. Fluttermane is going to do what it always does, but taking it out triggers its abilities Guilt Trip, sharply lowering both attack stats, and Ill Will, depleting all moves PP that took it out. At no point is setting up safe as long as Marshadow can come out and instantly use a 50 base power Spectral Thief due to its Phantom Thief ability. Calyrex Shadow Rider is completely broken. As One and Speed Boost do nasty work. It also has a Focus Sash and Nasty Plot. Easy sweeper. Lastly, her Mega Redux Houndoom can easily finish off a team. Raging Souls is a 130 base power ghost move that, because of its contrary ability, will raise its special attack by 2. Outspeeding it is your only chance. This fight will take some pre-planned strategy for sure, but certain teams just can't get through. One gym that always gave me trouble as a kid was Tate and Liza, the first double battle gym in history. Well, that same trouble is back and much worse. Not only is it a double battle, it's an inverse battle. The entire type chart is flipped. On top of that, there's a permanent Trick Room. All of their Pokemon have 0 speed IVs. Well, what Pokemon are you facing? To start off, they lead with a Marsharna and a Reuniclus, with Tactical Vest and Assault Vest respectively, as well as max HP. They're super tough to get through. If you didn't prepare for Trick Room yourself, they're going to be hitting first and super hard. Musharna will also set up Psychic Terrain, so priority moves won't work either. Your problems have just begun, however. Calyrex Ice Rider is waiting to blow up any Pokemon sent out against it, and its As One ability will give it a +1 in attack after. A Rangaroo with Reflect and Light Screen, and the ability Friend Guard will make it near impossible to KO anything with it around. One last surprise is waiting in the back though. Not one, but 2 Mega Evolutions. Mega Slowbro and Mega Slowking are waiting to wrap it up. Both are super tanky and have no chance of going down with special attacks. Slowking will also set back up Psychic Terrain, which boosts up its expanding force. It can put you to sleep with Hypnosis and then Calm Mind. On the other side, Slowbro is hitting Scalds, giving physical attackers burns. So many factors make this an extremely challenging fight. One wrong move or switch in because you forgot it was an inverse battle can just end it for you. This will always be a fight you need to plan for ahead of time. Although this fight is technically an optional fight, it's still extremely difficult. Like the Win Straight family fights, you must battle multiple trainers to get through and ends up being a 6v12. This battle is for Dragonite Ignite, Dragonite's Mega Stone. Appearing as one trainer, you get jumped by all 3 of these expert fighters. All are armed with dangerously strong Pokemon, all with weather and terrain strategies. The first battle is an Alolan Ninetales lead setting up Hail. Freeze Dry, Draining Kiss, and Nasty Plot can start you off on a bad foot. A Kyurem will most likely come out next and reset the Hail if you tried to remove it. With Ice Scales and Permafrost abilities, it's not going down in one shot, allowing it to use Dragon Dance or Whiteout boosted Glacial Lance. It's a monster. Mamoswine is deceptively scary. Whiteout boosted Ice Shard, which can get really powerful after it uses Ice Fang. This is because of its Growing Tooth ability. Last, a Mega Lapras Y comes out, also setting the Hail back up, and is a tank. Extremely high special defense and perfect coverage with Liquid Voice Boom Burst and Freeze Dry. A tough trainer for sure and can get a knockout on your team easily, but there are 2 more fights right after. Next, the Fire Expert. Regular Ninetales lead, setting up Drought, followed by a Reshiram with Fire-type Boom Burst and Dragon Breath to burn Pokemon, essentially killing any physical attacker instantly. Arcanine with Fire Extreme Speed, as well as Close Combat and Wild Charge, very tanky and hits like a truck. Last, his Mega Charizard Y, which will set the sun back up, but if it's already up, it'll gain a +1 to its speed. Charizard Y is a nuke after this with Solar Beam and Weather Ball. After all that, you still need enough Pokemon to fight the final trainer. Leading with a Jolteon, it sets up electric terrain and will do massive damage with Rising Voltage if not taken care of. A Shell Bell Zekrom will come out with Electric, Boom Burst, and Extreme Speed, both of which are boosted by 60% before electric terrain, which if you got rid of will be set up again by a Alolan Raichu. Surge Surfer and Light Ball combination is super scary, and the very last Pokemon is what we're fighting for, Mega Dragonite. Its multi-scale ability ensures it can use Dragon Dance. Stab, Electric Thrash, and Outrage are difficult to handle, and if you're just hanging on, Extreme Speed finishes you off. As you can see, this is a gauntlet. Not only is it a 6v12, it's 12 very, very strong Pokemon with team synergy. It shouldn't be a surprise that the Elite Four has difficult battles. It also shouldn't be a surprise that the guy who specializes in one of the best types of all time has one of the hardest teams to get through. Drake is the last member of the Elite Four and is an absolute beast. No gimmick, no games, just a straight up fight. Right from the jump, his lead Dialga will give any Pokemon trouble. Its Lead Coat and Primal Armor ability make it impossible to get through quickly, allowing it to set up Stealth Rocks or deal massive damage with Steel Beam, which won't even hurt it thanks to its impenetrable ability. Roar of Time works like Dragon Tail and will switch you out, so no setting up either. A Roaring Moon with booster energy raising its attack is super dangerous, especially with Acrobatics and Dragon Dance. Koraidon, which sets up its own sun, is extremely powerful. All of its moves are super tough to live from. Rayquaza can come out and will set up a Tailwind on entry, then Mega Evolve and get a Wind Rider attack boost. Kyurem Black hits like a truck and will live thanks to its multi-scale ability. Last is his Mega Haxorus. It can't have its attack lowered, and with 180 in attack plus Stab Excalibur, it will get easy knockouts. Drake will send even some of the really great teams back to the start with ease. Unless you chose Blaziken, the original 8th gym was never that hard, but anyone who's played Emerald Elite Redux 2.0 will tell you this is far from the truth now. The 8th gym has transformed into the hardest battle in the entire game. So what makes this thing such a difficult challenge? Not only is it a double battle, it's a back-to-back double battle against Juan and Wallace, another 6v12 matchup. Keeping your Pokemon alive is key for these lopsided battles, but it's even harder when a Pokemon gets double attacked. Starting off with Politoed and Suicune. Politoed sets up Rain with Drizzle, while Suicune sets up Aurora Veil on entry. Suicune can then set up Tailwind, while Politoed hits both targets with Surf, Hyper Voice, or Icy Wind. The rest of Wallace's team is scary. His Manaphy is no longer mid, but very disruptive. On entry, it steals stat changes and sets up Rain while having Swift Swim. It also has Parental Bond and High Tide. His last Pokemon is a Mega Gyarados with strong moves like Death Roll and Earthquake, as well as Dragon Dance. Juan's other Pokemon are Simipour, which is mainly for support. Its Friend Guard makes KOs difficult and can even undo them with Revival Blessing. Oh, and it's holding a Lepa Berry, so it can use it twice. Tapu Fini will set the rain back up and can trap you in with Whirlpool. After defeating all of them, the next fight starts and the teams are even better. Juan leads with a Primal Palkia, which instantly gets a +1 to special attack. Wallace leads with a Golisopod with First Impression that is going to do great damage no matter what. Palkia's power is too much to keep it around for long, but taking it out brings out Swift Swim Ludicolo. Its Quiver Dance and Focus Sash combo can let it sweep easily. His very last Pokemon, Arctovish, will try to hit both of you with Rock Slide or blow you up with a Vicious Rend. Meanwhile, Wallace is sending out Primal Kyogre. You must watch out for Sheer Cold, Thunder, and the spread move Origin Pulse. The very last thing is Mega Swampert with Swift Swim and Iron Fist should rip off huge damage. You somehow need to get through all of this. This is definitely the hardest battle and will serve as the ultimate test for your team. Those are my picks for the top 10 hardest battles in Emerald Elite Redux 2.0. Of course, with the right team and game plan, you can make any of these fights easier, but they still present a challenge. Let me know the strategies you've come up with to beat these teams down below, and maybe you can help someone out who's stuck. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe for more and check out my other videos. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.